Welcome back, everybody, to the Cake Eaters Avalanche podcast. Uh, have a fun show for you today. The other day, if you weren't aware, Nathan MacKinnon's birthday, 1st of September. Um, so to honor that, we're going to talk about our favorite Nathan MacKinnon moments. But real quick, uh, just the other day, we were on the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Obviously, if you haven't already checked them out for some reason, you definitely should. And if you want to check out the episode we were on, it was from this past Thursday, the 31st. So go check that out. Go check out DNVR Avalanche to do some great stuff over there. It's a good time. We had fun on there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an Avs fan and you haven't checked that out yet, what are you been doing?
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
Not that show. I just mean like the NVR. So
Well, right.
yeah, that show
All
was
right.
fun though.
It was very fun. We had a good time. So, Blake, you're a big Nate Dogg fan.
That's my
Big fan of
guy.
the dog. That's Blake's guy. If you're unaware, it's the reason he wears number 29. Um, so we're not like we don't have like a top like list or anything. We're just kind of chatting, reminiscing on the greatness that is Nathan MacKinnon. Um, so do you have what's a good Nathan MacKinnon moment off the top of your head that you want to chat about first?
How about game 2 in Calgary?
Game two in Calgary. Oh, that's a
That's the
good
one
one.
that pops in right away.
That's
I
uh,
mean, it extends into game 3 too, right? They lose game 1. It didn't even feel like a playoff game. It was it
game
was one of the
sucked.
weirdest games.
Game was awful.
Mike Smith's playing really well, and he finally broke him. And
Yep. Well, they didn't. Well, they I guess broke through. Yeah, they didn't really break him. He was the only out outside of
that's fair. He
outside of
did give
game
up a lot of
one.
goals the rest of the series.
Well,
Smith
he
did,
was the only one on the Flames who was doing anything.
right. But yeah, I think it was one of the first times where it was like, all right, like they knew that they knew that they could win
Yeah, like in
more than
some
just a couple playoff games,
yeah, in like a kind of roundabout way. That's kind of that game kind of started this whole era of Avs hockey in a way because
Hmm.
like they tie that series, which when instead of going down being down 2-0, they have a chance to take the lead in game three, which is
And then Cale
practically a
McCarr
guarantee.
comes back
Yeah,
or not comes back, but joins the team.
it's practically a guarantee because game threes are always like really good for the home team. And then you got Cale McCarr, this kid who just won the Hobie Baker, coming into your team. It's yeah, I mean,
And like obviously that was the McCarr show that game, but like who scored the first 2 goals of that game?
yeah, exactly. I,
Yeah.
I I always think it's funny watching those two goals because he scores that really nice like shot over Smith's glove. And he's just
Hmm.
like he's really hum ho about it. He's like, yeah, whatever. And then he scores this one timer that he banks it off of Smith's butt, and he's just fucking
Hmm.
pumped. Like it's watching pumped up Nate Dogg is, especially after he scores, is something just makes my heart full.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but like to going back to the original moment that you brought up, that game too, that shot is just ridiculous.
Filthy.
I've
But
literally
yeah.
spent stick and pucks trying to recreate it the best I can, and it's just granted I suck, but it's I feel like most NHL players like you I don't know, like it might even be hard for Connor McDavid to
Dude, what
try
is
and
going on
recreate.
out here?
What do you mean?
So I'm in Vale, right? And I have the door cracked a little because it's really hot in here.
Yeah.
And there's some commotion out there.
Commotion?
It's really
Interesting.
loud. Can you hear it?
No, I can't.
Oh, that's pretty surprising.
Classic Vale ruckus.
That's pretty surprising. Yeah, I don't, Vale, just
Party
Party
capital USA.
City. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, that's a good first moment to lead it off with. And then in a similar vein, I'm gonna go back to his rookie year and his overtime winner against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
It was game 5, right? Game 5,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That one's like in kind of in the same way of the Calgary one. That's a sick moment, but that's not even his best moment from the series.
I mean, yeah, it didn't even. I would say that was the start of it, but it wasn't. The 3
No,
assists in game 1, and then game 2, he was amazing.
he murdered Jared Spurgeon.
Goal and 2 assists, and the goal was a goal.
Yeah,
And
like
I think game
that's
5, they needed someone to do it, and it was him.
His goal in game 2 is one of the most iconic. Like if like when he retires, that's like going to be one of like the top. Like if
I Does he have a goal better than that besides
besides St. Louis.
St. Louis?
I don't know. He scored a lot of good goals. I don't know. I feel like that one's really good, but I kind of feel like he's had better that just fly under the radar maybe a little bit, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that goal. It was. I mean, it was just so cool. Like everything about it. It's the playoffs. It's such a good defensive defenseman. He does it too, and he's this 18-year-old kid, just like taking over a series, and then wins it in overtime in game 5. We can forget about the games in Minnesota. That's all right.
Yeah, no, it was weird. I've never seen it before. They just decided not to play away games.
Yeah.
The NHL was just like, no, it's okay. You don't have to play away games, and they were just like, okay, cool. Yeah,
When Minnesota got the matchups they wanted, oh boy,
yeah, not great.
not great.
But going back to the overtime winner, I love someone talks. I remember someone talking about it a while ago. But rookie Nathan MacKinnon, he's on the ice. I just pulled up the goal, so he's on the ice with Paul Stastny and who else is it? Gabe Landeskog. He's an 18-year-old kid,
Mm-hmm.
and he's slapping his stick on the ice, calling for the puck.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, dude's got balls.
Didn't start like that either. He was pretty. I I don't know. He didn't play like that early in that season.
No, yeah, there was
Um,
definitely a feeling out period.
yeah, like obviously he finishes with 63 or 64 points, something like that, and that's really good for a rookie, especially back then. Like that'd be equivalent to probably like a point per game season nowadays,
Yeah,
just with how much
that's
scoring has gone up.
that's
So
top 5 rookie scoring for in the Cap era.
yeah, yeah, like awesome rookie year and the playoffs too. And but it took him a minute. Like he didn't score a lot of goals until like December of that year, and
Yeah,
it wasn't even goals too. It was just points in general. And so
he was
seeing
like
him that year, his growth from when you know at the start of the year he would shoot, and you feel like, oh man, right into the chest every time. And throughout the year,
isn't that
that
just how
tap
Nathan
shot
MacKinnon has been his entire career though? Beginning of the year, can't score to save his life, and then December hits, and he's just like,
feels like it. But man, some years he's popped off at the start of the year, like
yeah,
18, 19, just the
he
entire year he
scored.
was good.
That was like one of the few games I can remember where he scored at the beginning of the season. He scored in the first game against the Wild.
Sweet pass for Miko.
Yeah, it was like all tap and goal, but goal's a goal.
Mm-hmm.
They don't ask how many. But this also like started something else because like, I mean, 10 points in 7 games as a rookie in the playoffs. That's nuts. But like, that was probably, I don't know where that ranks in his all-time playoff performances. You could make an argument for
pretty average.
Yeah, that's like a discipline. Like it's absurd to think that. Like that's one of like the hallmarks of Nathan MacKinnon, because he just had his first 100 point season. But like a big thing keeping him in like these conversations for like best player is the way he performs in the playoffs. Even though he might not have the regular season production of some of these other guys, he's just such a good postseason performer.
Yeah. And it's not like his regular season production has ever been bad. He's just not the healthiest.
Yeah, it's always just
something.
Some problems with staying healthy, yeah.
Yeah. And it's good though that it's never like the same thing. It's just here and there something happens. It's tough to see when it does, but like I'd rather have that than
holy shit, Brad Malone was on that team.
Yeah, dude. Brad Malone. Who else? Paul Carey.
Benoit.
Andre Benoit.
Bordelot was on that team too.
He sure was. So was Cliche. It was the Cliche Bordelot Malone fourth line they were rolling out in game 1.
Oh,
yeah. I think they each got like 4 minutes of ice time or something.
I'd love to go look back
because that top 9 was like
stacked.
It was good. Like McLeod, you had to play McLeod on the third line, which was a little tough, but like
they had 4 top 6 centers on that team.
Yeah, I mean they had MacKinnon, Duchesne, Stastny, and who else?
O'Reilly.
Yeah. Just crazy.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's hear your next big Nate Dogg moment.
Oh, there's so many. Let's try an under the radar one. If you remember the last 10 or so games from the 16-17 season. I know.
Good for you.
I know, but like, do you remember how good Nathan MacKinnon was in those games?
Nathan MacKinnon was actually kind of good that year. Just
53 points.
Yeah, but if you watching him play, he was definitely a much better player than he had been as his other 2 seasons.
Yeah. But do you remember how good he was in those last 10 games where he kind of where it was him, Andrighetto, and Mikko and...
Well, right. That kind of led to, and they started, that's why they kept Andrighetto on the first line to start the next year. And that was kind of why that was kind of like an indication of what was, going to come in the next year.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, he started scoring those highlight reel goals and kind of just carried over into next season, and then he took off. We can go to the Chicago game. I was just kind of trying to bring the late 16-17 into the start of 17-18.
You're talking about the Chicago game from 17-18 or the 16-17 one?
17-18.
Oh, okay, because I know he had an overtime winner against Chicago. Was it? Yeah, no, it was in the 16-17 season, but that was in December or something.
Yeah. But yeah, and then that Chicago game happens in 17-18 after a bit of a slow start, and he seriously has not looked back. He's only gotten better since then.
There's the that goal from the game, which is kind of like he hasn't scored that goal as well. He kind of does nowadays. He doesn't do that. He doesn't
No, he
go
doesn't
far.
do the short side.
No, yeah,
It was
wait,
short side low.
no, that one or was it? I don't know. I might be remembering it wrong.
He was like
But if it is
slamming
short
his
side
stick.
low,
He's like slamming his stick on a pass from Kerfoot, and he just like deposit short side, like cool.
yeah,
And
I think was it. I guess I might be wrong because that's what I'm actually thinking that he scores more of now. I'm thinking like that the goal like he scored. No, yeah, you're right. But he shot high on that one. I just watched it.
yeah,
He does more of the low now. Like there's a few that he's had this past year. Like he had one against the Oilers last year. Um, off the top of my head, he really likes short side
he just he
because he
just
hasn't
kind of
moved away from that.
scores everywhere. I feel like there's just not
Yeah,
there's he gets high glove happy a lot sometimes,
he loves high glove.
but really it's he just kind of takes what's given to him, which is something I think he's gotten way better at.
Yeah,
Um, he scored a
isn't
bunch of ugly like 5-hole goals last year where it was like, I mean, he's just taking what he's given. So
yeah, his dust off the him and Miko both love the little dust off into a 5-hole.
hmm
They just kind of hold it and like wait for the goalie to freeze. But
hmm
um, yeah, no, there's the clip of him last year from the BioSteel camp where he's talking to Eichel about how he just shoots everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and then he was like, "Oh, you ever do stuff with the high glove? I do."
yeah. Which no shit, Nate.
hmm
No shit, you do. I remember there was like a last year there was that stretch where he would just score in the first 5 minutes of every game. He would just go high glove.
High glove.
So I would
Yeah,
and like it was he just constantly had breakaways, and I
it
was
was like
just
the yeah the
I literally tweeted
breakaways.
out I think we talked about it on the show. We were like, if you're a goalie and you see Nathan MacKinnon coming down, like do you cheat high glove even a little bit? But obviously he's so
Well,
good at just shooting
Connor
everywhere that
Hellebuyck tried, and then it was low blocker.
yeah, I remember that one in 1920 where Hellebuck's just still standing there.
No, I mean like last year, that breakaway goal up there in Winnipeg, like
I guess he did
a
the
minute into the game,
he did it
Hellebuck's
twice.
like on the glove side of the net, like,
Yeah, and
and
Nate
McKinnon's
shoots.
like, okay,
Yeah, that's I guess no, that's why I'm getting confused because I remember that goal, him scoring that goal, and I was like, this is the exact same thing as the goal from 1920, except just he shot it low in 1920 and high
is that the one where he
last
like
year.
stopped in the corner and then like went around the top of the circle and then went
Hmm.
low blocker?
No, that was one he did score one like that. No, that was the one where he stole the puck from Donskoy
Yeah, I
in
was
the
gonna say
neutral
that
zone.
was 21-22.
No, that was 1920. Remember, because that was when
There's so many on Hellebuck. Oh my goodness.
he scores on counter look a lot. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about the 21-22 where he like skates just right into the defender's teeth and then just shoots low blocker and in.
Yeah, he like skated into the corner and then like went back around the top of the circle, low blocker.
Yeah,
Like he just I don't know. We're thinking of all these random goals that, don't mean as much, but like
they're still sick.
it just shows you like how good at scoring he's become.
He's just yeah.
Now he's had
It's
to evolve it. So
I I don't know. I'd be surprised if he doesn't hit 50 goals at one point. I wouldn't.
eh,
I guess I wouldn't be like shocked, but I would be like a
he
little bit
plays a
like,
full
eh,
season. I think he could hit
yeah.
50.
Will he ever play
Um
82 games again?
yeah, I mean, and the one thing though that frustrates me always is the one timer. Like just give it up, man.
Yeah, but then there's games like that, the one last year against Anaheim where he scores two of them.
That was against Anaheim, dude.
Yeah, but still, a goal's a goal.
You can use it against them. That's fine. And like this year, my prediction is the Sharks are gonna have like 50 points. Like you can do it against them. Have you seen that defense? Just quick tangent here. Let me pull up this
Yeah,
defense
someone
for you.
pulled up their team, and the defense is bad. The forward core is not good, but it's not the worst.
No, are you ready for this? Mario Ferraro and Jan Ruda.
The first pair.
That's the first pair. That's it.
Stanley Cup champion, Jan Rota.
Second pair, Vlasic and Matt Benning. Okay. Third pair, McDonald and Shimmick.
Speaking of Jacob McDonald, I got this the other day.
Well, at least they have one good defenseman.
I got this online. It's like a place that sells like old NHL gear. So I got this practice shirt because I work 6, and I'm like 90% sure it's J Maxwell jersey for something because it's a Climalite and
Those
he's
are
the only
old.
one who was around. So
Right.
the last person before him to wear it was Agazino, and he played like a few years ago. Anyways, going back to the Nate, since you brought up the Sharks, his one of like the like, it's not a pretty goal or anything. Well, he scored a lot of goals against a lot of teams
For 100 points.
Yeah, the 100-point one is really sick. That was kind of where I went, and then I started going off a tangent, and then I went to the playoff series. There's that goal where he like bodies out Brent Burns and bats it out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
And he just struggled to score so much in that series. He was just so excited that like he was feeling it. But then he also earlier in that series, he had that sick post in Game 3.
Yeah, I was at Game 3. There was nothing going on that game. That was one of the worst hockey games I've ever watched.
And then Logan Couture got a hat trick.
And then the Dog just rumbles down the ice and he's like, finish me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wasn't at that game, which is why they lost. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was not at Game 4. I was at Game 3.
Yeah, I was at
a little bit of bad luck, but I was also at Game 6. So
I was at Game 6 too. Game 6 was sick.
One of the weirdest games.
It was a weird game for sure.
Just the feeling in the arena.
Yeah, it's just such a weird vibe.
They just got beat up and down the ice. Like they did not get the better of the play, like at all.
Really?
If I'm remembering right, like the quantity might have been even, but dude, like the Sharks, they were getting to the middle quite a bit, and it was a very tense feeling in there. You have to look at the actual numbers.
Yeah, I don't. It's not coming in. Whatever. Doesn't really matter.
No,
but yeah, no, his 1 for 100 points was pretty sick. He got his 100 points, and then he got his and he clinched the Central in like ideal fashion.
That was the sweetest game.
The Predators won.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was like he has the first goal where he like gets absolutely just takes the two-hander from Colton Sisson and just busts through.
Oh, okay, I found it. Expected goals in that game at 5v5 were 3.13 to 1.94 for San Jose.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
Anyways, but there's that's another good one is that hat trick because he doesn't score a lot of hat tricks.
Right.
All
I have today is a bed. Yeah, no, not a lot of hat tricks.
Off the top of my head, he's got that one. He's got his first one against Tampa,
where he injures himself on the referee
for
like a while. Yeah.
He low-key owns Tampa Bay though. Like
yeah. Oh yeah. Always.
And then there's the one in Obviously the St. Louis one. I think there's one more. Oh, he's got the one against LA. The Chick-fil-A game.
Oh my God. Thank you. Where he like scored his hat trick and he looked like embarrassed. Like,
Yeah, he
oh,
just felt bad for doing that to the Kings.
like
He's like,
Berkey like gave him the perfect pass. Like where it's just like a free tap it and he's like, do I even? Like, okay,
dare I?
I guess. And then
Yeah.
he skated he just skated to the bench and sat down. He didn't
Yeah,
even
no, I remember every time I watch the highlights, there's the clip of oh shit, what's his name? Blues guy, the color commentator who also is on TNT.
Darren Pang.
Darren Pang, yeah. He's like, I appreciate his humbleness. He just scores the goal and goes right to the bench. And it's like, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's 9-3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, but even after his second goal, he's just like,
Yeah, he does
scores
get
on a
into that
breakaway.
sometimes, especially like later in the season. Because, early in the season when he's got like 6 goals through 33 games, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah,
And
he's
then you
like
look up,
desperate,
and and it's like 60 games played, and all of a sudden he's got 38 goals. The Sellies tend to become fewer and far between.
This year at the end of the year, the Sellies picked up, but that was because like his gold meant more, It's because
Right,
usually
he
in the
wanted to
past few
hit
years, like
100.
they just clinched and yeah.
Right, and they were actually like working towards something as a team
Right. And that's what the Nate Dogg cares
because they
about.
weren't as good. But yeah.
Yeah, like there's his 3 goals. There's one against Anaheim. Didn't really give a shit about.
Hmm. I do also. I want to touch on. Um, I want to touch on the bubble. We talked about this a little bit on the pod the other day at
Yeah,
DMVR. He had 25 points in the bubble. In
15 games.
Yeah,
I looked it up yesterday because
that's
someone
that's a
tweeted something.
lot.
Yeah, it's
That's crazy.
to just watching him play in the bubble
He
was
was just a
just
machine.
it's like there's so many to pick from, but like the one that I remember is his one where he is skating across the blue line and like he does this like kind of mohawk thing and he's dragging the puck with him and he just fires just a piss missile past Anton Khudobin. And
I don't
then
remember.
it was in game 1.
Oh, where he's like skating backwards, kind of,
Yeah.
and he just like smokes one high glove.
It's so weird because I've never seen anything like it
Nope,
since.
still haven't from him.
That's
Yeah,
not even just from him, from everybody, anybody,
yeah.
ever. It was just absurd. Like he was so good. It was a man possessed, and everybody like I remember kind of like everybody was like, oh yeah, well, kind of the same thing with like Jamal Murray, where they're like, oh, Bubble McKinnon, like especially the year after in Vegas, they're like, oh, well, I guess Bubble McKinnon was a fluke, and it was like, brother, please.
Well, MacKinnon hasn't had a playoff run where he's been below a point per game, except for last year.
Was he even last year?
I thought it was 6 and 7. Might have been
No,
7.
he was 7-7.
Oh, okay, good.
Him and Miko were both point per game.
Yeah, and they deserve more. Like they played so well, but
To fucking how they lost that series with the performance that Miko ran and put up is just.
it was both of them.
Yeah, but I just
The combination of those performances not winning a series is just beyond.
Yeah, I only single out Miko because he was a goal per game, and that's fucking crazy. Like Nate played well. I mean, we could touch on this right now because his game 3 was fucking nuts. He scored like I saw that goal the other day, and I didn't remember it as well because I was kind of like it was on.
It was so cool.
I'm talking about the first one because the second one, that one's sick as fuck. But the first one, that reminds me throwing it back to another one of his goal in its rookie year against the Islanders, where he just smoked Thomas Hickey. He did that to Adam Larson, and I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like he can like smoke dudes still.
It's still there.
But like, I felt like the players might have like caught up a little bit. Thomas Hickey was pretty low bar.
No, he still got it. He's that's the best I've ever seen him play was last year. The last 40 games.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like
so good.
It was every night. Like usually you can tell when MacKinnon's having a bad game. And usually those games don't really mount to anything for him. Like Mikko is the complete opposite, where he'll be like having a bad game and then he'll score twice in the third period to win. It's like, okay, thanks, Mikko. But like MacKinnon, he just usually his bad nights just don't end very well. And the thing about the end of the season is like he just wasn't having any bad nights ever. Like he was just good all the time.
Even when there were stretches where he would have bad nights, he would actually get points, which wasn't usually a thing that if it wasn't his night, it was absolutely not Nathan MacKinnon's night.
Yeah. It was crazy. But yeah. And I wanted to touch the COVID year MacKinnon, not the bubble, the year after. His
really
series against St. Louis. His series against St. Louis is one of his all-timers. Then the Vegas series obviously happens, but
yeah. The St. Louis series holds a special place in my heart because that's one of my favorite MacKinnon moments, because I have a video of when MacKinnon scores the hat trick. He scored. They huddle like right in front of where I was sitting. So I take a few steps down the stairs and I toss my hat. Kind of regret throwing it. Like if I didn't hit Nathan MacKinnon with the hat like I did, I would absolutely regret throwing that hat, because it was the 2017 draft hat. And that hat is sick as fuck.
Oh, that's a good hat. Yeah.
Fortunately, my dad still has his. So
I don't throw. I never throw a hat.
Yeah, I don't. I stopped throwing hats, especially after last year, not this past season, but the one before, because they were getting so many hat tricks. Like Landy had the hat trick. Berkey, Landy had 2 hat tricks. Berkey had the hat trick. Mikko had a hat trick. Nate had a hat trick. Someone else had a hat trick too, didn't they? No.
It's Landy had a couple. Mikko had. Berkey. Everybody had a hat trick.
An unsung guy. I might be thinking of Comfort from the year before, though.
But yeah, I'd throw my hat for one person. I'd throw it if Cale Makar got a hat trick.
Cale Makar. Dude, it's gonna happen at some point. It better.
Got to, right? But yeah, I'd throw it.
Let me see here. But it's been a lot. Okay, so MacKinnon, Landeskog, Berkey. No, it was just those. Okay. But that's still it was a shit ton. And the thing was that it was all in like December, January, February.
Yeah. It was when all the games were 7-5.
Yeah, it was super condensed, and I was like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Can't spend or replace these hats. I threw my hat when he in game 5, and I wish I hadn't, because I remember going down to the store during the intermission between the third period and overtime, and just fucking depressed, being like, guess I'm gonna buy a hat now. I don't even know which hat it is.
Oh no!
Probably never wore it again.
That's still the coolest goal I ever saw.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. It sucks. And I love his celebration too, where he just smacks the glass.
He didn't know what else. Like just the emotion of that moment, because he thought he did it. Like finally,
he should have done it.
Like he sent them to the conference final, and with a hat trick, and Wasn't meant to be.
Unfortunately not. But game 6 against Tampa Bay.
He wins. He knew. Like, I mean, maybe not he knew, but I think a lot of people figured that it was going to have to be him, Miko, Makar, Landy, all those top guys. It was going to have to be all of them, or at least one of them. It was going to have to be one of them to do it.
Yeah.
Because you weren't getting more than 2 past Vasi.
Right.
Even with all those chances. And Nate, the one-timer that I hate.
The one-timer.
He
I don't know how you
squeaks
can hate on the one-timer anymore. I literally won them a cup.
He squeaks it through.
Like it is like, I don't know if I'd say the most perfect,
Just
but it's a
never
damn
fucking goes
perfect
in.
one-timer.
It just never fucking goes in. Except for
Man.
when it does 3 times a year.
When it goes in, it goes in. It's like, it's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. He gets all happy, and then he gets obsessed with it for the next 2 weeks.
You ever get obsessed with taking one-timers all the time?
Yeah, and it's like one-timer into the boards. Back up to Makar, over to MacKinnon, another one-timer into the boards.
Or the chest. Don't forget about the chest.
The chest is a classic too. Yeah.
Those are all good ones. Another one that I from the cup run that I think kind of gets forgotten. He had 2 really good goals in the Edmonton series.
Mm-hmm.
That the first one where he just smokes Darnell Nurse.
Darnell Nurse skating on one hip, but yeah.
I think he would have done it anyways. I mean, he literally did it this year. I think like twice.
Oh, yeah.
Part of me feels bad for Darnell Nurse. Dude, every time that dude plays the Avs, it does not go well.
Yeah. Honestly, anytime that dude plays defense, it does not go well.
Damn. But there's that one. That one was sick. And then his one to tie the game after he takes a penalty, comes out of the box, and he kicks the puck to his skate and just roofs it short side.
Off the wrong foot.
Yep. That goal was nasty. What else? What are I'm trying to think of other ones from that playoff run. There's the one he scores in game 2 against Nashville. That's like,
I mean, he does set the tone, dude. Like, okay, so the one-timer that I do like, the bumper one-timer.
yeah.
I like that one. That one works, like, a lot, very often. That was his bubble. That was his thing in the bubble.
That's also well. That was kind of how he scored his first career goal. A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, the bumper one-timer. He's really good at it, and yeah, he used that to set the tone for the entire cup run against Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that goal just like the perfect microcosm of the entire team? Like, Landeskog throws a guy down.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
Back up to Makar. Makar gracefully walks the blue line over to Miko, who's just chilling, not even doing anything, gets the puck finally, like, doesn't even do any of the work, gets the puck finally, makes the sickest pass to Nate, right in the breadbasket for Nate, and who goes boom, back of the net, and it's 1-0. Like, it's the perfect microcosm for the team, that goal.
Yeah. By the way, I'm just looking at the stats. If you wanted to if Jesus, this is absurd. Okay, like last year, if you want to, like, I feel like his cup run kind of gets underappreciated. So in 1920 bubble year, 65 shots in 15 games.
Mm-hmm.
How many shots do you think he had in the cup run?
20 games. I'll go 100.
117. In 5 more games, he almost doubled his shots.
Shots a game. That's like 6 shots a game.
That's like 6 shots a game.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
It's a lot of shooting. And he scored 13 goals, which is a lot
scored
of
13
goals in 20 games. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot of goals. It's a pretty good
Yeah.
player.
I think in the playoffs, he turns into just this. He just turns into a different player. Like you see his regular season numbers, and it's always like 40 goals to 60 assists, somewhere in there. 40 to goals to 65 assists
Mm-hmm.
is usually what you're getting. You're getting, you know, a goal for every 1.5 to 2 assists.
Right.
But the playoffs, not so much. He just scores a lot of goals in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it's because it's like exponential growth. It's like bad,
Yeah.
bad, good, 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 and then he gets to the playoffs and he's just scoring everything. Was it? I'm trying to remember here. Another good moment, really quick, just while I don't forget, against it must have been 15-16. Or was it his rookie year? There's no way it was his rookie year, was it?
Against who?
Montreal. No, it was
The 2 goals.
15-16. Yeah, it's 2 goals
Yeah.
when like the Canadiens were undefeated or something like that. Like they were like on top of like I don't know if they were undefeated, but they were doing real good. And Nathan MacKinnon like with a rare backhand goal.
The little flippy backhander that he's only scored on maybe 3 or 4 times ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was a good one.
That's a good one. I'm trying to think of a few more little under the radar ones. His shootout goal against Arizona in 18-19.
Yeah.
Where he did cool. poor Darcy.
Poor Darcy. His shootouts have been interesting because he started his career like so good at them. Where
yeah,
he
I
would,
mean,
like
we
freeze the goalie and go high glove.
We could throw any shootout goal that he had
Like
in the start of his career. His little move, his little flip,
lifts the leg again, goes high glove.
Yeah,
and then it kind of stopped working. He had to like improvise a little bit. He tried forehand, backhand, shelf, worked against Kemper. Hasn't really worked since then, but he's kind of gone back to his old style. Last year, it was working. He got Grubauer, he got Samsonov.
The one from last year, he did. I'm watching it right now. Let me just see. He did a little backhand flip last year, but it was like the only one that he ever scored on. Mikko was the shootout guy last year. He would just go in and shoot.
That's all he's got to do.
Really.
And Mikko's new little thing is the little chip high glove.
Yeah, he kind of stole it.
Yeah, but it's a little different because it's from the other side.
Yeah, and like since he shoots so much, the goalie's expecting hard shot, and then he gets him with the change up.
Right, he does the same thing 5-hole when he does that little stop and flick.
Yeah,
he's going 5-hole, but
they can't tell because he has his wrist still out.
Exactly.
It
looks nuts.
Those shootout goals. Trying to think of some more. Oh, we touched on the Wild kind of to start, but his 2-goal game against, those 2 games that he had against them in the 17-18 season, the 2 games where they just kicked the shit out of the Wild.
Yes.
There was the one that I remember is like the perfect shot. His perfect corner shot. Okay, let me see if I can find it. 2017. No, not the Oilers. Not the Oilers. But like it, he was just, dude. He's just so good against the Wild. It's kind of ridiculous.
There's just these few teams where it's like, dude.
It's the Wilds, the Blues.
The Wild, the Blues, the Jets.
Any team in the division, to be completely honest, like
the Lightning, yeah. Well, the Stars, yeah.
He's the Stars, but he's still pretty good against the Stars.
The Predators, he's always good against the Predators. He's never been that good against the Coyotes. He gets really angry when they play the Coyotes.
That's because they always had Connor Garland.
Well, but like then they didn't, and then he was still mad. Like
because they employed Connor Garland at one point. That's just not acceptable.
it's true. It's true. Then why doesn't he react like that when they play Vancouver? I don't get it.
I don't like. He hasn't played Vancouver the last 2 times they've.
Yeah.
Okay,
true,
I have
actually.
his points per game numbers against each team up.
Ooh. Let me guess who's first.
Go ahead.
Probably. Is it in the division? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
One,
it?
two.
Is it the Jets?
No.
The Wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of his top 10 teams,
1.4.
he's got. Why are some of them locked out? What is this? Come on, StatMuse, you piece of shit.
What is like 1.4?
He's got 49 points in 43 games against the Wild.
So his points per game is best against the Wild, or just like the amount of points?
Is the amount of points. I don't know. StatMuse isn't great.
Okay.
I wish it had the only PPG is power play goals, unfortunately. So he's got 49 and 43. So I think the best one, based off of just my basic math here, is actually surprisingly the Sharks. He's got 40 points in 31 games against them. They're third on the list in most points scored.
It's 1.29 points per game.
Yeah. And he's got 36 and 36 against the Blackhawks.
What about
35. What?
What about the Jets? I'm so interested.
His Jets he's actually under a point per game. He's 34,
Really?
36. Yeah, because these are definitely, with his later breakout, they're definitely a little different. Actually, well, I don't think they're quite as close, but he's got 24 points in 17 games against both the Red Wings and the Senators.
Interesting there, Nate.
Speaking of the Red Wings, he's got 2 overtime winners against them. Both.
He does.
Dope. His first one is kind of like that Chicago goal we talked about earlier.
Yep.
He literally comes around and just snipes.
Short side. Yeah.
Short side, yeah. And then there's the one against them at home, where this one he just kind of walks in and just rips a shot. Beats Bernier.
Yeah. A lot of stuff beat Jonathan Bernier.
That's true. Looks like the Bruins is the lowest of Nate's career. Just going back to this really quick before I move on. He's got 12 and 17 against them. Really pisses me off that some of these are fucking blanked out. I feel like he's pretty good against Vegas for the most part.
I think he's just okay.
Yeah. He's a point per game against the Penguins. I'm kind of surprised. I thought that might be a little bit over. But I guess the start to his career.
Yeah, he always plays well against Crosby.
Yeah.
Always. Not a whole lot of defense going on between those two against each other when they play.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
They're just being nice.
They're just dudes being dudes, It's like when you play with your homies and you're not like defending really hard.
Yeah, they're just being nice.
You always try really hard on offense.
Yeah. And then on defense you're just like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt you."
Yeah. It's like, Yeah. So all right, let's get a few last ones in here. There's so many good Nathan MacKinnon moments. It's obviously it's impossible to touch on all of them. What are like one or a few that you have off the top of your head?
I don't know. It's just impressive to me, the whole body of work that he's put together, and the fact that last year after signing giant extension. He went out and played the best hockey
And after winning a cup.
ever, and after winning a cup, he played the best hockey I've ever seen him play, and that just says something. And can't wait to watch him again. I
Yeah,
really
it's
don't have
gonna.
any more specific moments because like it's just impossible to get to all of them, and I can't wait for him to make more. So
My favorite moment, that's not like a play or anything, is his cup parade speech where he's like, "Well, I guess I finally won something in my ninth year." That was just like perfect,
yes,
perfect.
you
No
did.
notes, no
No
notes.
notes.
Take that.
Yes, you did. Drunk Nate.
um, yeah, no, Nathan MacKinnon is just I don't know. I feel like after the season Austin Matthews had in 21-22, people kind of forgot, and Nate only played 65 games that year, so people kind of like forgot.
Who who's really the
This,
dog?
yeah. Who's really the second best center in the NHL?
It's the dog.
It is the dog. Woof woof, man.
He's just a machine. Like he just does it year after year after year.
Like,
It's like not this crazy stuff that other people are doing, like McDavid with all his points and Matthews with 60 goals, and you know,
it's just all around. Just
it's just like he's just a machine. It's like okay, 45, and he's on a pace for about like what 45 and 70 every year, like no matter what. So
the one thing that I did think that was really impressive about his season last year, trying to look at his 5v5 numbers
he was
because they
doing it
were
all with fucking he was doing it all with fucking Erod and like Arturi Lekkinen, which is like, him and Lecky are buds or good old pals, and like just he's usually playing with Miko and Landy and Val,
right.
you know, and like Berkey's a very good
Him and Berkey, best
producer, and
buds,
so
best buds. Um,
yeah, so like it's just cool to see him just do it by himself,
right.
because he could.
So real quick, so last year, according to NHL.com, Nathan MacKinnon led the league in even strength points, despite scoring like how many points less than McDavid? Like 42 less points than McDavid, and
Yeah,
playing 11 less games. That's crazy. That's
yeah.
and he didn't even get nominated for the fucking Hart.
He's just a machine at 5v5, dude. Like even his power, he's power play Nate, whatever. But
It's fine. It's like all right.
he's just, he they generate a lot more offense on the power play when he's out there than when he's not on the power play, like when he's
Right.
hurt. But like that doesn't necessarily mean the puck goes in more.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I digress.
this is just a funny thing that I just noticed. I have his stat sheet up. He scored exactly 12 power play goals in 4 seasons.
In a row.
Not in a row. He scored 3 in a row from 17-18, 18-19, and 19-20. Scored 12 power play goals in a row each of those years. And I think it's a little unfair because he had 48 games played and then 65 games played.
Mm.
But Nathan MacKinnon should have a heart, by the way, just real quick. You should have a heart.
Yeah. He could arguably have 2, 3.
Right.
I think he should definitely have that one that got stolen. And then like last year he could have won it, except for
Miko.
Poopy Pants.
Well, and McDavid, yeah. Yeah.
Poopy
I just think it's
Pants.
funny that for 1 year they decided having a good teammate matters, and then the rest of the years they're like, oh, no, that doesn't matter anymore. I have good teammates.
Pants.
Yeah, good old McPoopy Pants. McSwept.
McPoopy Pants. They get really mad about McPoopy Pants when you say that to them on Twitter.
Blake loves to troll the Edmonton Oilers fan base, and so does Nathan MacKinnon.
They do not like McPoopy Pants for whatever reason. That's just they don't like
It's
that
so
one.
funny because it's such like a silly insult.
It's just like so stupid. Just McPoopy Pants.
Like,
Hey.
yeah. Well, I think that's enough Nathan MacKinnon love for one podcast, if there even is such a thing. But this might be a fun thing to do for other guys around their birthdays. His is easy because his is in the off season, so there's time to fill. But
Yeah.
hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to check out that episode on the DNVR channel. Also, I was told to give a quick shout out to Jimmy Buffett. Passed away today. Jimmy Buffett is
shout out Jimmy Buffett.
Dope as shit. It's a sad loss, but
rest in peace in Margaritaville.
Exactly. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Happy birthday to the dog. Woof woof.
Happy birthday, Nathan.